Welcome back to the Turnbuckle Chat podcast. It's a very exciting one today. We'll get to our guest in a minute, as you can see on the screen, someone you've never seen before. But it is 6 days until WrestleMania. It is the biggest week in wrestling history as it stands at the moment. So there's a lot to unfold of what's been happening. Storylines are coming up. We'll get to Jamie's opinions and stuff like that. And then we'll have a look mainly into WrestleMania. Now that I've announced the matches for each night, we've got a bit more of a clearer picture of what's going on. But, as I said, to our guest today, you can see I've got another special guest. Only because David, who, congratulations to him and his now wife, Alicia, got married over the last week or so. I've just come back from Crete, so giving them a bit more of a resting time. So we have got Jamie with us from Lorna's Law. Lorna's Law is a YouTube channel that I follow quite closely, as you can see from both the shirt, Birmingham City fan page, but they are looking at going into wrestling and other sports. So make sure to head over and check them out. So, Jamie, how are we, buddy?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thank you for having me on. Really, really honoured. Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's all right. I did yours midweek. You come on mine. It makes sense to do it, doesn't it? So, and you're very honest and open about your opinions as well. So it'll give the fans something different to see. So, but week of WrestleMania, what are your thoughts heading into next weekend?
I'll start by just throwing out that I hope TKO don't find a way of majorly messing this up. By the way, where do we stand on language? Because I don't want to just start firing out.
So the fuck you like, mate.
Awesome. Yeah, I just don't want TKO absolutely fucking the life out of this week by bringing in ridiculous celebrities or stupid appearances. I want it to be on the wrestling. I want it to be on the storylines, the stuff that grips us. I couldn't give a shit about Little Yachty. Couldn't give a flying shit. Like, why is he appearing? Why is he doing this thing at the minute? Like, just stay in your lane, man. Stay away.
Yeah. I think it's one of those Little Yachty's one that they need to give Trick Williams that. I get he's got the big push and everyone loves his entrance music and stuff, but imagine his theme being performed live by someone big. It's going to be like a Little Yachty's that kind of person. What I am excited to see, though, with Little Yachty coming in, or Little Yachty coming in, people like Jelly Roll coming in, and people like those that are currently in the scene being celebrities are, and iShow Speed being another one, is they are big wrestling fans. In the past, we've had celebrities come in that, like we had, what's her name? Snooki from Jersey Shore. Never even watched wrestling, and she was appearing on the WrestleMania card. And you sit there go. So Little Yachty, I actually got to see Little Yachty when we went to WrestleMania 39. He performed the Usos entrance, and it was fucking awful. So not really a big fan of him, but I can see why they're trying to get him in with the hype around Trick Williams. But it's one of those. TKO could fuck it massively.
They kill so much, don't they? That's my issue with you. Fear that I think Hunter, or Triple H as we call him, or Paul Levesque, he gets a lot of unnecessary stick in terms of he probably does botch up a lot of contracts and stuff. And let's be honest, Jericho was there for the taking, and he's gone back to AEW and stuff like that. But I feel like it'd be hard to be Triple H right now and try and entice someone in when he knows in the back of his mind that TKO might just absolutely ruin them. Because if TKO says it's happening, like we can all see, like that whole Pat McAfee thing wasn't planned. Like Triple H had no idea about it. Clearly, like Cody was furious. If he didn't know about that, and that is kayfabe, the way he did that promo, that is some of the best acting I've ever seen. Because there was pure rage in his eyes.
Yeah, I read something the other day that said there was a guy called Chris who was the producer of that segment. So he was told by TKO that Pat McAfee was going to be the guy. And Triple H and Cody, no one knew. And the promo that Pat McAfee actually gave in the ring, Chris told Triple H as he was giving it, was like, by the way, this isn't the promo that I've given him to do. Pat McAfee's words were completely his own words. He went off and said what he wanted to say. He didn't actually stick to what he was told to say, which wouldn't have been half the stuff he has. But that then shows Cody's response. Is if Cody's response is genuine, you get the kind of the storyline back. Like you said, you want to see the storylines and the matches. It makes Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship that little bit more realistic.
Yeah.
Obviously, we all know in wrestling the word fake gets thrown around. We know it's all storyline. We know it's all planned and stuff like this. But when you start getting matches happening and you can see like what is like pretend but looks like genuine hate between two wrestlers, I think it just sells the storyline more.
Yeah.
And the promos at the moment between the Randy and Cody and even throwing Pat McAfee in there from this week, they're building up. I have seen potentially Jelly Roll might be on Team Cody.
I like Jelly Roll because Jelly Roll's fought in a big event.
Yeah.
And the thing that used to murmur me was wrestlers and celebrities that have to win, whereas Jelly Roll lost his fight.
Yeah,
And I
he was
respect
happy
that.
to
I'm
have a
like,
loss,
yeah,
weren't he? Yeah.
like, that's what you want, isn't it? I apologise. I'm bunged up with hay fever, so if I write my
So,
nose, I'm sorry, guys.
so we're all bunged up. It's the UK. If it's not flu going around, then we don't know what is going on. But Pat McAfee again thrown himself in that section. He did actually say on his podcast, whether there's truth behind it, that he actually said no to this at first because he didn't want to be the heel in the storyline and didn't know how he would be able to play it. And the only reason why he did the storyline was because Randy personally called him and said, "Hey, look, I think you are the right person. You would be good for this." And they had a conversation, obviously. Ultimately, as we can see now, Pat McAfee has ultimately got involved. But I'm not sure about the Jelly Roll. I kind of feel like Jelly Roll gets involved on Team Cody, but we potentially could see like a heel turn from Jelly Roll. Something we never really see as a celebrity turning on the guy they're in the corner with.
Yeah, it would. It would be a bit wild, wouldn't it, if he did that? I don't see it happening personally. I really, really don't. But I've been proven wrong many, many times being a WWE fan.
Imagine you get the situation of the stare down in the ring. Because I've seen quite a few rumours. Apparently, it's meant to be Cody and Jelly Roll versus Randy and McAfee at Backlash. Imagine if they lined it up that McAfee and Jelly Roll come into the middle of the ring and have a face-off during the match. Imagine if Jelly Roll just hit him with an RKO.
Oh,
One, that'd be fucking incredible to see. Jelly Roll hit an RKO. But imagine that, and the whole time, it's Jelly Roll's been Randy's side, and it was a way just to get someone that Randy would deem as an easy target on Pat McAfee. You get that kind of style there where that match has got a lot to potentially to give us. I'm pretty sure that will also be possibly main event on night one.
yeah, I think they've
Realistically, I
announced
think
it. Rhea's night, so
yeah. So night one we have Logan, Austin Theory, and ISO Speed versus the Usos at LA Knight. Drew versus Jacob Fatu in a unsanctioned match. You've got Charlotte and Alexa versus Lash and Legend and Nia Jax versus the Bellas versus Baylor and Lyrie.
well, asterisks on the Bellas because Nikki might be out still, mightn't she?
Yeah, there's a lot of potential that she's not going to be recovered in time. But
What happened? Because obviously I saw we were watching it. We were watching it in bed, me and Jasmine, and then I kind of blinked and looked, and Nikki's out cold on the floor. I was like, is that Lash? Is that Nia? Because if it's Nia, I'm not surprised. Miss Botch herself.
see, I read it was an ankle injury, and she's done something to her foot. So she weren't able to put pressure on her foot for a couple of days, and had to have like a small surgery or something on it. So I don't know. So rumors for wrestling are crazy. Like we obviously being football fans as well. You see how quick Twitter takes to things and social media takes on to things, and obviously wrestling's the same. But not sure what happened. Whether that becomes a triple threat or sorry, or if maybe we get a different tag team in there, surprise tag team.
Kabuki.
I don't know because I have a feeling that we've got one Raw and one SmackDown left. There is 7 matches announced for Saturday, 6 for Sunday. I still feel like we get Oscar and Io at Mania.
And you eventually, because at some point Kari's going to snap, and she so.
Yeah. But that's what I feel like that might be. Oscar versus Io. Oscar pushes Kyrie to try and help, and Kyrie turns and assaults Oscar instead. But there is also the other chance of the storyline with The Miz and Danhausen, which we'll get to in a little bit later on. But you've also got that could happen. So, but also on the Saturday, you've got AJ and Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins and Gunther, Stephanie Vicaire and Liv Morgan, obviously Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. For me personally, I think just to see the evolution that's happened in the past 10, 15 years of women's wrestlers, Stephanie Vicaire and Liv Morgan has to close out night one. I understand people are going to want to see Randy and Cody end it, but as far as I've been aware in the 20 odd years, I don't know about you, Jay, but if you win a Royal Rumble, you main event WrestleMania. The last couple of years, they haven't had the women's and the men's main event in a WrestleMania. I feel like that has to close out the show and bring back that whole point of what you're in the Rumble for.
Yeah, they either start or end it, don't they? They have the bangers at the start or the end. So I imagine being it's how it is. It's going to be Steph and Liv might open the event.
I have a feeling the way that you open WrestleMania is Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu.
I think that's just going to be
straight up unsanctioned, straight from the beginning.
There are two fights I'm very excited for, and two fights that scare me that could mess up very, very quickly. McIntyre versus obviously Fatu. I'm buzzing for that fight because I think it's going to be bedlam. I just hope there's no crazy interference. Let them be no interference from anyone. Let them just let them pull the house down. Do it. The other one I can't wait for is Brock and Oba. My fear is don't be a Goldberg. Don't be a 2-minute special. Give me 20 minutes of just two fucking Goliaths killing each other. That's all I want. I just want pure testosterone and anger fighting.
I seen a video the other day. It was a boxing video. I can't think who the two fighters were. And they're two big, super heavyweight boxers, and they're just throwing punches at each other. There's like a Russian guy and a Chinese, and they're just absolutely smashing each other with punches. And you're sitting there going, how have none of these gone down? And the caption was, this needs to be Brock versus Oba at WrestleMania. Of just two people just slogging, knocking it out. It's going to be a very
German suplex city, isn't it?
German suplex into a Nigerian uppercut, into a German suplex, into a Nigerian uppercut.
Into an F5,
imagine seeing Obafemi get suplexed but land on his feet.
Have you not to segue, have you seen Sol Ruka's interview where she spoke long about obviously the soul snatch, and they were saying, can anyone else do it? She's literally turned around into and goes, Oba claims he can do a soul snatcher. If Obafemi drops a soul snatcher on Brock Lesnar mid-mania, I think I'm going to bed. I'm done. Nah.
That would be great. I always loved it when Braun Strowman used to do a double drop kick.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it is about big guys doing drop kicks, but it makes me laugh because they're hilarious. But looking at night 2, because there has been a change since we come to you last week. Obviously, Brock Lesnar, Obafemi. There's now a 6-man. Me and G last week discussed why it was only a 5-man ladder match. It is now a 6-man. The 6th man being that Rey Mysterio has joined that match. So another Lucha Libre high flyer into that match. I feel sorry for Rusev because he's going to take a lot of the brunt in that match. We've got Sami Zayn, Trick Williams, Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, Dom Mysterio versus the Demon Finn Balor is one of the changes from last week, and of course CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. I kind of hope that gets given a stipulation. So we're recording this live Sunday night, Raw tomorrow. So the Raw before Mania is tomorrow. I'm hoping a few of these matches start getting stipulations this week, because at the moment we've got a ladder match and an unsanctioned match. That is it. There's no interesting matches in there. I kind of feel like Roman Punk is going to become a Bloodline Rules or no DQ or Fatal 4, not Fatal 4-way, Falls Count anyway. Basically a no disqualification match, which ultimately might see us see the Usos get involved. So what are your thoughts on night 2?
I think I'm going to first go into Bloodline Rules with you. I can see that happening, and I've said from the moment it was announced, and Roman obviously turned around, he was like, no, WrestleMania night, leave it to me. But we all know that Roman, when he's losing at a big event, will try everything in his power. But I'm also, if that does happen, I'll be very interested to see who appears for Punk, because Punk, we know Punk's character. Punk is that guy that will have 14 people up his sleeve that he can just launch. I'm excited for that. That whole second night sounds incredible, doesn't it? But it's just, I'm very much like you. I want some good stipulations in that match as well. I really, really do. Like, I'm just curious to see what they'd throw in and how. I also think there's a potential, obviously, I don't know if you've openly spoke about this in the pod. Obviously, Rey Mysterio apparently retiring this year, isn't he? So do they
Yes.
give him the IC?
Potentially, although I did read the other day, apparently in an interview, he was asked the question as to why WWE didn't go with him versus Gunter and Gunter to retire him at WrestleMania. And he said, because ultimately my decision would be if anyone is to retire me, it will be Dom.
Nice.
And maybe they give Finn Balor a run that gets him to a world title or something like that, and maybe Dom gets thrown back into that IC title reign or into a storyline where Rey Mysterio could come in, and ultimately SummerSlam ends up being Rey's final appearance, Rey versus Dom. It's just shit because if Rey versus Dom is happening, Dom's going to win.
Yeah.
I think as it stands at the moment, in just a one-on-one match without interferences, don't think Dom's ever beat Rey.
No, of course he hasn't.
The only time he beat him was because of Rhea Ripley. So it would be the obviously for Rey, his final match, passing the torch that his son finally in a 1v1 match has beat him.
He nicely did it clean as well. I don't want any of this. I know he's dirty Dom, but I think it'd be nice on his dad's resume and his dad's kind of career to win clean.
Yeah. Just to go on, we were talking about the opening matches of the night. Now, WWE have announced that the first hour on ESPN for Americans, the first hour on ESPN and ESPN2 are advert free. Now, looking at the graphic I'm just looking at here, on Saturday, surrounded in that box that says the first hour free, will be Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre and LA Knight and the Usos versus Division and ISO Speed. So those are going to be your first two matches on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And on the Sunday will be the 6-man ladder match, as well as Brock Lesnar and Obafemi. Now, let's be honest, Brock either ends or opens. So Brock Lesnar, Obafemi is probably going to be opening night one of WrestleMania. Now, if your first hour's free, I can't imagine they're going to have the ladder match only do half an hour, 20 minutes. I feel like that might be a 10, 15-minute match with Brock.
Yeah.
And Obafemi, but yeah, obviously we can sit and talk about what we want and what we got. But going on the last week of Raw and SmackDowns, obviously we were talking before we come on air. We've seen Danhausen make his in-ring debut against Kit Wilson, double curse him, and then mug over The Miz. And we also finally got to see the debut of Royce Keys.
Yes.
As he faced off against, we want to say it was Garza, Bertel or Garza, one of them. Going off Royce Keys first, because I know you're excited to talk about Danhausen. We'll get to Royce Keys first. What were your thoughts on the dominating match that Royce Keys put on for you?
Looked exactly like them. Looked exactly what you were going to sign him for. He's an absolute unit of a man that just basically ragdolled the life out of someone for 5 minutes. Got hit a couple of times, slammed him down. 1, 2, 3, job done. Kind of declared himself on that open stage of I am this big powerhouse, who wants a piece. And then I think someone like a Rusev could come in and cause an issue for him. I think that'd be a good little one to line up Rusev against him.
What about Royce Keys versus like a Drew McIntyre?
I just think Drew McIntyre's character is one of them, though. He won't look unless you're a big boy, will you? Like he'll want Royce Keys will probably get that fight, but I think he needs to build himself up the card a little bit first.
Yeah, that's what obviously eventually come to it. Royce Keys is going to have that. I want to say that Obafemi intro into WWE where he had, I can't think who his first opponent was, but then he had Kit Wilson. Then it was someone else that wasn't that good on Raw. Back to Kit Wilson again, and I think Royce Keys are going to get a few of those. The lower card, mid card, lighter people. Maybe next week he gets Berto. But I'm excited to see him because obviously he debuted 3 months ago at Royal Rumble, and we haven't seen him since. I know there's been a lot of work with him in the Performance Center to build on his character, but Powerhouse Hobbs, when he was in AEW, he could talk on the mic, he could wrestle, he had the personality and stuff. So for him to come to SmackDown and be doing that, it's quite interesting to see where he could go.
Yeah.
I feel like you can end up with him against Solo. You can end up against Fatu. Cody could be a good shout with him, with history in AEW. But it's one of those. It was a very dominating debut. That was well needed, to be fair. And then, obviously, like I said, we also got the debut match of Danhausen, who is slowly becoming my favourite wrestler. I've said it's in Elimination Chamber when it was announced it was him, that he's a very good wrestler. What were your thoughts on that match?
I thought, so obviously, spoiler for everyone, I don't watch much AEW. I'm very much WWE, and it's not because I can't be bothered to watch AEW. I just don't have time. Not as bad as that is sound. So I actually texted you, Josh, didn't I, when he came out, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And you were like, "He's fantastic." And his in-ring, like his character itself, is incredible. You can see, I think he sold out his meet and greet first, or one of. He's sold out pretty much his merch goes like that. Like he's got the ability on the mic, and he's a very even he didn't do much in that wrestling match. Like he played to his gimmick of cursing people, but you can just see he's very clean. He's very sharp in that ring. Like he's got a good ring IQ, and it's someone that you just know is going to cause chaos and probably end up with a title at some point. Like you can see him going to challenge on the open US title and just taking it one day and going off, yeah, bang.
I feel like it's one of those where it's Sami Zayn. Ultimately, I think Trick Williams wins at WrestleMania. I think Trick Williams wins.
Yeah.
Maybe you get Danhausen come out, curse him. He loses to Carmelo or something like that, and then claims that it's because of him he's got the title.
Yeah.
And then I feel like he's just going to curse whoever the US champion is and keep cursing them until it ultimately comes down to him getting the match. But a lot of people just see him as a joke character.
Yeah.
And I tried to explain when I said it to you a couple of weeks ago. I said he is a joke character. He is like R-Truth, that comedy character that people love. He's got his catchphrase over very quickly. He's got, like you said, he's got his merch out very quickly and all this. But the guy actually has a lot of wrestling ability. Where R-Truth, the way that I see it, R-Truth copies a lot of Cena's moves, a lot of other people's moves. Does a few things at his, but very much a copycat of people. Danhausen has a very specific set of starting to sound like Liam Neeson from Taken. That's a very specific set of skills. But he reminds me of like the old school wrestlers like Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, those kind of people that are. It's a grapple and it's an actual wrestling match, and he's got that style behind him. So I'm very interested to see what he does more. I have a feeling we might get SmackDown. It might be Danhausen and The Miz. But again, I think The Miz has sold his character so well with it and helped portray him in front of people. And that's what Miz is good for. I think he knows he's getting on a bit to be wrestling for bouts and stuff, but he's very good at putting people over.
Yeah.
So it can be very interesting.
For the Miz, though. Feel a little bit sorry for The Miz because he hasn't won a good match in a long, long time now. It's like just.
I don't think he's won a match in like 18 months.
Well, I mean, like him and Carmelo probably in tag were the last time he actually declared as a winner in any kind of match.
See if I can Google it. When was the last time that Miz won a?
And I get it because he is that big dog, isn't he now? Like, and he kind of helps people, and he's incredible at acting, and you can see that. Just feel a little bit sorry for him lately.
So, based on reports from early 2026, the Miz's last televised singles victory occurred against J.D. McDonough on February the 5th, 2024. So, just over 2 years now, he hasn't won on TV. But look at for example, he's put Carmelo over massively in that time. Ilya Dragunov was another one he put over. He started work with Tommaso Ciampa and people like that. Dan Housen, he's massively put him over. So he is that experienced vet that you get now, which is weird to think because so many stories about when he first joined the locker rooms and how he was singled out by people. And you kind of look at all his career overall and you sit there going, even as world champion, you were never given that positive push.
Yeah.
And he's probably one of the most underrated wrestlers I'd sit there and say of the past. Definitely deserved more world titles. I'd put him in the same category as Rey Mysterio, like Hall of Famer for sure.
Yeah.
But definitely deserved more of his title runs. The IC title got big because of him, and that's the way that I look at it. What was it, 8 or 9 reigns he's had as IC champion? I think
Grand Slam as well.
Yeah, 2-time Grand Slam. Only 2-time Grand Slam.
I think the thing I felt most sorry for is, acting or not, he was pushing to have that fight with Cena on that retirement tour the whole time, and they never gave him like the fight with. And he says it himself. He had Cena gave me one of the biggest nights of my career at that WrestleMania. Like I want that fight, and they just didn't give him a fight on Mania. And I was like, anywhere in that tour, and I was like, that's just harsh. Like,
it just made me wonder, and this is just being a fan and wanting to see John Cena wrestle a match again, because obviously, as we all know, John Cena hosting WrestleMania this weekend. What if The Miz does what he did when he hosted? So when The Miz hosted WrestleMania 39, he came out to the ring and said that he was hosting because he didn't want to wrestle, blah, blah. Ultimately ended up in a match against Shane McMahon, who blew both his quads, a bit like his father did.
Yes.
And ultimately then lost a match to Snoop Dogg for the gold World Heavyweight Championship that Snoop Dogg has. What if we get Miz come out again saying, how is WrestleMania without The Miz having a match? And we get that final match being John Cena versus The Miz.
Would Cena fight? No, Cena seems very much a I am retired kind of guy.
Doesn't need to be a big fight, does it? Come out to the ring, give him an AA, call a referee out, pin him. Fans are going to go fucking mental because they've seen John Cena, and it automatically goes down as John Cena's last ever match in WWE. He didn't lose.
Yeah, that's true because, screw Gunther.
Going on to Gunther, Seth Rollins, what are your thoughts on this random match that's come out?
I like it. It gives. I obviously, me and my girlfriend talk regularly when we watch the wrestling. I literally turned around about 3 weeks ago and I said to my girlfriend, like, I haven't heard much from Gunther in the last month. Like, what's going on with him? And then out of nowhere, this happens, and we're like, oh, there you go. It brings Seth back into it. It brings Gunther back into it. I'm glad it's not a retirement match. But I think it'll be a good match. I think he plays the villain so well, and Seth can play the bad guy and the good guy well, but Seth is a phenomenal wrestler. Seth will make that look like a fantastic wrestling match, because I like Gunther, but he's a bit clunky.
Yeah, I think Seth sells that match quite well. Like you said, Seth's in-ring ability is mental.
Oh, next to none.
So much power, so much precision, so much skill, a lot of ability there.
Do we, in an alternate world, do we have a sleeper hold on Rawlins, and then do we have a Jon Moxley appearance?
No, I don't think Jon Moxley will ever appear in WWE.
Again. I pray. I just want one Shield reunion in my life. I just want one time.
Just one more.
Just one.
I've had about 10, but just one more.
Just want one fight. Like, I didn't get it fair last time.
I'd love a Shield reunion with Jon Moxley though, not Dean Ambrose.
Yes, I see that.
Come out as his AEW character, not as the Lunatic Fringe. But me and G had a conversation on this match last week, and we were discussing the long-term situation from the match. Now, obviously, Gunther's come to Paul Heyman's aid. Do you see anywhere that connects and what that could lead to?
Gunther's going to want a retirement match with the Big Brock.
I said this, that apparently Paul Heyman's called in a favour, and then on the Raw after the podcast we did, Gunther literally turns around to Paul Heyman and goes, "You owe me a big favour," and walks off. And I was like, 100% that favour's going to be, give me Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. and I'll retire his ass. But I would like to see Paul Heyman and Gunther have a storyline that lasts a while, like Paul Heyman's had with CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. He had storylines with Curtis Axel, and obviously the Vision at the moment of Bron Breakker. Do we potentially see now Paul Heyman get pulled away from the Vision and get stuck with Gunther?
Or do we see Gunther taking over the Vision?
Oh, I never thought about that. It's not a bad shot, But
Gunther wants power. Gunther's always in the NXT days. He had his allegiance, didn't he? He had obviously, was it Ilya and Ludwig? Or am I wrong? Imperium.
Giovanni Da Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was two of them. Like, and they were an absolute good. They were a fiery stable, weren't they? And I feel like Gunther's incredible as a wrestler. He's awesome. I do love Gunther because he's an absolute terrorizer, and he absolutely winds everyone up, and that's what you respect. I don't like he retired Cena, and that hurt. But I love how he embraced it with open arms and just went, "I'm going to wind everyone up about it." I feel like him running the Vision and it causing friction with the Brons when they eventually come back from their boo-boos, would be mayhem.
The Brons and their boo-boos.
Bron-Brons
Do
and
we
boo-boos.
potentially see Bron Breakker get involved in that match, though?
Well,
Because apparently he's been cleared to wrestle.
I was going to say, the schedule was he was set to be clear, weren't he? He's been fit for a week or so, hasn't he? But apparently no one really was asked.
Do we get the disappointment, though, of the big return on Raw is Bron Breakker? Like last year at WrestleMania, CM Punk and Roman, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins obviously turns on those. Paul Heyman joins him. On that Raw, we then got the masked man for the first time that come out and attacked. Turned out to be Bron Breakker. Do we end up with a second year in a row where the secret return is Bron Breakker?
Or Paige?
I feel like we're going to get a man and a woman. I think Paige is going to return during an AJ Lee celebration.
See, yeah, my girlfriend is literally like that on the side because Jazz said the same thing.
That's how she came into the main roster. I think if you're Triple H, you have to go, that was smart. Now, what's where we can get a bigger pop with Paige returning? Fuck it, let's do what we did when she debuted 10, 11 years ago, whatever it was.
Or they do it at Mania as she wins and she's celebrating with the title in the ring, and then Paige's music hits, and you're like,
that'd
blow the roof off the place. That screech, as soon as that screech hits, you know that there'd be scenes.
That would pop as hard as Joe Hendry's hitting last year against Randy Orton.
Can we talk about that? I think him dropping the title means we're going to have a Joe Hendry on main roster.
Potentially. I can see it because you look at a lot of NXT superstars when they used to come up. Going like Solo Sikoa was in NXT for, I think it was like 2 years before he came up. People like your Adam Coles, your Finn Balor's, your Drew McIntyre's. I know Drew McIntyre was in WWE before, but he come back in NXT. Kit Wilson, when he was with Pretty Deadly, they were in NXT. Tiffany Stratton was in NXT for they've been there for a year or two, and then they're pushed onto the main roster. Whereas now we're getting to a point where Jordan Grace was in NXT for, I think it was like 11 months, and then she was put on SmackDown. Blake Monroe's another one that she's only been in NXT, I think it's like 7 or 8 months, and they're already talking about putting her on the main roster. You've got Joe Hendry, it's only been 6-7 months. They're on about putting him on the main roster. Are we now looking at a point where maybe NXT isn't like a training platform? It's just a way into WWE. Get them on the screen so people know who they are, and then as soon as they're good enough, straight into the main roster.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd like to see Tatum Paxley. That is one person I would like to see on the main roster. I think she's incredible. JC Jane, I feel like might get the call up at the moment because losing her title as well.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be so opposed against, as long as JC Jane comes on her own.
Yes, and I agree. You can piss
Leave
off
the
with
other
your
two.
stables coming up. Yep, leave
Is it
them.
Fatal Attraction or whatever they're called? Leave them on NXT. Bring JC Jane up and put her in a US women's title picture with Chelsea Green.
I was just about to say Chelsea probably the perfect.
Yeah.
I think she's underrated though. I know she loses a lot, but I do like Chelsea.
Chelsea Green's great. And I said it that my prediction was going to be Julia versus Kiana James versus Chelsea Green for the US title at Mania. That's what I'd have loved to have seen. Kiana turn on Julia because we haven't seen Julia for a couple of weeks. We haven't seen Kiana for a couple of weeks. And you sit there going, what are they doing with the US women's title? Where they're pushing the shit out of the two main titles, the tag titles and the Intercontinental title. And I feel like that US women's title isn't getting as much like look on it. Where I feel like they need a big match announcement for SmackDown this week for that title to be on the line. We also haven't got the tag team titles being defended. I think this is the first time I've seen it. It's the first time since WrestleMania 34 that WrestleMania hasn't had a 2-on-2 traditional tag team match.
That's a bit
And it's also the
mad.
first time, I think it says since 2006 or around there, that neither tag team title has been defended at WrestleMania.
Wow.
So it's a very long time. And the tag, like someone put it on Twitter, 4 years ago, WrestleMania 39, the World Tag Team titles were in the main event of night one. And now they're not even being defended at WrestleMania. The division last year going into WrestleMania, everyone was talking about the SmackDown tag team titles because they had a big storyline going on with I thought it was like 5 or 6 different tag teams, and they flopped at that. This year, they're not even on the card. There's no announcement for any matches on tomorrow night on Raw for the titles. So and the tag team champions are fighting at WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's a bit.
So it don't make sense what's going on. But yeah, but it's that time of year where, as you do, as a fan of it, WWE, my faction, is going to be looking at getting some big cards.
They've already dropped the WrestleMania pack.
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know Jamie and his brother Vianney, who is going to absolutely cream his pants that he's been called out on the podcast, Jamie and his brother Vianney run a Reddit page. So anyone out there who plays my faction, what's the page called?
It is literally called My Faction Support.
Okay. Follow that page on Reddit. These two help run it kind of thing. A lot of useful information on there. Jamie's always bugging me. You need to get on my faction. And I'm like, I don't like it. And then he came around my house one day and spent 2 hours playing it. It was like, I got you really high. Haven't played it since.
All that effort for nothing.
But we'll discuss quickly. Have a quick discussion about the game. Obviously, do we do 2K26 now out? Also, Mania.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on the game compared to the last couple of years and how it's playing?
I have a lot of things I really like about this game. I love that they brought different fight matches in. Dumpster matching's great. 3 Stage of Hell to bring that in, fantastic. The story mode's still good. The My Universe is great. GM mode, fantastic. My Faction's still great. It's fun. It's smooth. A couple of issues are, one, it's all money based still. Like, I haven't spent a penny on the game online yet. Obviously, I bought the big edition of the game, but that's all I've done. I haven't put any money in for packs, but on the last few ones, you only need a specific card to activate the live event where you could go on and move up. Now, in this first month, to get all the live events done, you need to have all the collection sets of all 4 packs, and it's just a bit shit. Like, you either need to have great pack luck or spend hundreds, and I'm not about that. And then people, it's a good game, it's fun, but people cheese online. If you're in a Falls Count Anywhere match, that's fine. But if it's just a straight Extreme Rules where you got to go into the ring to pin, people will just run along the side of the crowd if you're going to win, just time you out or make you leave the game in annoyance. Like, there are certain stuff that people do to scumbag it. But in total, really good fun. Great to play, good movement on it, everything's improved. I don't agree with some of the ratings of some of the characters, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think when they show it on live shows, and they're like, "Oh, here comes Chelsea Green. Oh, she's an 86 rate," and I'm like, "How? How have you got her so low, but someone like Logan Paul's a 90, and you sit there going, how? Chelsea Green's a lot better." Chelsea Green and Penta had one of the greatest matches I've ever seen in my life on Lucha Underground. And she is so underutilized because she'd have a great match against people like Michin and B-Fab, who are so talented. She'd have a great match against some of the Japanese wrestlers because they're the same sort of wrestling. Zelina Vega, who come up with the Lucha kind of wrestling, she'd be great in matches with Chelsea Green. But they want to utilize her as this gimmick character. And don't get me wrong, we all like Chelsea Green. I think she's hilarious and it's funny. And she's never been creamed like that before. That was a great video that WWE screwed her over with. But I think a lot of the time people just go, "Oh, it's Matt Cardona's wife," because they don't actually know what Chelsea Green's capable of, and she's a very good wrestler. But
she's a WrestleMania caliber fighter.
Yeah,
who's not being used in that caliber at the minute.
She's injured, isn't she, at the moment?
Yeah, you just kind of feel bad for her.
But look at the other situation, and I discussed this last week. Chelsea Green, Alba Fire, Maxine Dupree, Natalia, Tiffany Stratton, Julia, Zelina Vega, Kiana James. That's just 8 of the women on the main rosters that's not even had a bat in an eyelid for being at WrestleMania. And Tiffany Stratton's a big one that gets me. And I'm sort of going, how is Tiffany Stratton not at WrestleMania?
There is still a Raw and a SmackDown to go yet, though. Everything could change with that.
It could do, but the last time that we seen Julia on TV, which is what Tiffy was going after, was 3 weeks ago, and it was her and Tiffy having a backstage conversation. And you sit there going, right, now push that for a title match, announce it the week before WrestleMania, or announce it the night before. There just doesn't seem to be anything going with Julia for that title. And Tiffany Stratton, they're not just going to give her a random one-on-one at WrestleMania for no reason. The only thing I could potentially see them announcing that would get Tiffy on it would be, obviously, we get the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on SmackDown. If they did a China Battle Royal or something like that, where they do it for a women's version, and maybe she wins that, because I can't see her doing anything else at WrestleMania. I can't even see her being on SmackDown this week. They're going to want to push the Mania matches. So I feel like a lot of the talent is underused. And subsequently, I think that's going to lead to massive, massive names in the next round of releases. And ultimately, I could see the end of the year coming, and some of the big names in WWE right now are going to be at AEW, where they're going to be utilised and used a lot more. But we move forward. Anything else from SmackDown last night that you wanted to talk about?
I think it was just a very smooth, it was all right card, weren't it? It was one of them where it's a slow building into Mania card, so you kind of accept that some of it feels a bit clunky, some of it feels a bit there.
Yeah.
But it's just one of them. The main event was all right.
Have you seen anything from AAA?
No, not properly.
So last night was obviously AAA's. I can't think what the PLE was called last night now. There was a situation where there was a woman interviewing another woman. The woman that works for AAA was interviewing someone in the crowd, which was Ludwig Kaiser, or should I say, El Grande Americano's wife, girlfriend, whatever the hell she is. To which then the original El Grande Americano come out, destroyed someone in the ring and whatever, which ultimately ended up leading to a very, very brutal scrap between the two El Grande Americanos, which I have never seen a scrap that heated in WWE ever. And it was great to watch, which has ultimately led, I think there's a AAA pay-per-view next week, which usually happens on the weekend of WrestleMania, which will be El Grande Americano versus the original El Grande Americano in a mask versus mask match.
Is it?
Who's obviously gets demasked. Now, personally, I think that should have been a WrestleMania match.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't understand it because they were almost building the Grande Americano so much that you kind of saw that a mass versus match was coming.
Yeah.
But I don't get why they haven't utilised that into Mania because obviously the Los Americanos have played about in NXT and done that tournament shit.
Yeah.
Cool. They were great. It was fun to watch. So I don't get why you didn't. And that would have been the perfect mass versus match, Extreme Rules kind of that. And them two, let's be honest, we all know it's Chad Gable and Ludwig. Like they're both very good wrestlers, and they would have made that a monumental kind of a steel cage with them two would have been awesome.
What I reckon would have been perfect for that match, and I think this is where you should have brought Rey Mysterio into it. Ludwig cut up a Grande Americano versus the original Grande Americano with Rey Mysterio as special guest referee.
Yeah.
In like some sort of Lucha Underground match.
Yeah.
Which ultimately you end that match with Rey Mysterio demasking both of them.
Yeah.
And being like, neither of you are luchadors. It starts all that rivalry then with Rey having whatever, or Dom being like, I was the greatest luchador, you ruined my friend El Grande America, blah, blah. And you should have brought him in that way. Now, obviously, they're both on Raw, so tomorrow there's going to be something. It hasn't been announced that the match is at the AAA PLE.
They
so
could throw this
potentially
into the match.
this could be announced tomorrow for WrestleMania, which if it is, I think is massive. A lot of people are watching AAA quite closely. I've been watching it a lot recently.
When is AAA on?
I don't know when it's on. I usually watch it on a Sunday.
Is it on YouTube?
I watch highlights on YouTube. I've got a double fire stick. I just search AAA and it comes up. But there's quite a few. I think it is on. It's on Fox. It's on Latin America, YouTube, and Facebook.
Awesome. Just so, because if I'm ever bored one night and I can't sleep, I'll just watch AAA.
Yeah, definitely watch some of it before next weekend anyway, because it's really good. And yesterday you had Al Vikingo, who's a very good luchador wrestler.
Yeah.
Had obviously matches with Dom for the AAA Championship. He faced Penta for the IC title and icing the maddest sunset flip from Penta. Like, I don't actually know what his finish is called.
Mexican Destroyer?
Mexican Destroyer, that's all, not sunset flip. The maddest Mexican Destroyer that he runs, jumps off the ropes into the Mexican Destroyer. And I'm sat watching like, oh my God. But some of the high-flying people sit there and go, oh, like this ladder match at WrestleMania is going to be mental for it. And people are like, oh, proper like luchador wrestling. You'll watch it and your jaw will be on the floor because you're like, how the fuck have they done that kind of thing?
You know, there's going to be some mental spot at some point in that match. Someone,
that's what I said.
It's going to be Rusev. Someone's going to get hurt.
Rusev is going to put someone through a ladder. That is probably a given.
Rusev's going to get put through a table.
I don't think Rusev gets put through a table. I think he gets like maybe through a table, or it'll be like Penta will do a drive or something like over a ladder onto him through another ladder, something like that. It's something mad's going to happen to him because I feel like, in the best way of putting it, the others in the match are quite
fragile.
Yeah. He's big enough where he could take a big move from Penta or a big move from Javon. The only other person would be JD McDonough. But I think with the history with his head, when he nearly killed himself last year, I think they'll be a bit more cautious about what bumps and stuff he takes. But it could be very interesting. Bear me 2 seconds. I'm just trying to see if it's been announced. AAA pay-per-view next week. Just to see if... Oh, it's looking for one in the UK. The next big AAA PLE is the Lucha Libre World Cup, which is the 30th of May. So, by the looks of it, it could potentially be that we get a mask versus mask at WrestleMania.
That'd be good.
And I think it's a good match as well. I feel like as much as we know Los Americanos as well are Tyler Bates and Pete Dunne, I think it's a good way to bring back New Catch Republic and actually throw something like that into the tag team scene again and get like someone new out. Because Raw at the moment is pretty much just the Vision versus the Usos. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do. But we'll wrap it up there. So I appreciate you coming on. At the end of all my podcasts, I ask all my guests a really weird and random question.
Okay.
So we'll ask you yours and see what you think. So the question this week will be, and let us know in the comments your answer. If you were to have a WrestleMania main event, who would be your dream opponent, and what match stipulation would you pick and why?
I mean, are we taking into account my current shape, or are we taking into account that I'm a wrestler who's had a lot of practice and I'm actually ample and able to fight in the ring?
However you want to look at it, you can take it as that.
Maybe like the Fiend. I'd love to have fought the Fiend. Yeah,
That's
the Fiend, and it have to be a terrifying match. Like I'm talking the Cage or Hell in a Cell or something. Barbaric.
What about like the was it the Asylum Seekum that Dean Ambrose had? The weapons on top of the steel cage.
Yeah. Or his Firefly Funhouse. That would have been fun.
Firefly Funhouse, that'd be interesting.
But no, I'd love to have fought the Fiend.
I think mine would have been Prime Triple H. And I think I would have gone in an Inferno or Buried Alive match. I'm not fighting the Undertaker in a Buried Alive match because he'd just kill me. I don't actually want to die. Triple H might have a chance against. And I'm not facing Kane. I'm not facing Kane in an Inferno match because he burnt his parents, so he'll just burn me. No, I think Triple H, because I think in his prime he was a great wrestler, but a lot of comedy moments as well. I feel like we can have a very comedic match, but then also have like a fun twist to it of it being a Buried Alive. So, but no, let us know in the comments your thoughts on WrestleMania week coming up. Make sure you head over to Jamie's channel. I will leave a link in the description below to Lawler's Law. Go and give them a follow and keep up with those. And yeah, until the next time, we will see you later. Goodbye.
See you later. Thanks for having me.